Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another reading. We're going to be doing a collective reading. And if you follow this channel, then thank you. Then you know that these are always going to be collective readings, even though I may put a certain astrological sign's name to it. So today we're going to be looking at the Capricorn reading, but it's a collective reading ultimately. And if you'd like to have a reading that's more personal and all about your own energy and how your own energy flows uniquely and what that means for your reality here on Earth at this time, then that would be a personal reading. And for that, you can always reach out to me. Yay! You can find me at my Etsy link. And if you have any issues selecting a reading or just any questions, you can always DM me on Instagram. God bless you. All right. But anyway, you know how these readings go. They're ultimately timeless and signless because they're collective readings. And that's just how energy flows. If something resonates, then I would invite you to, of course, take it back, make your own discernments, take it back to your higher self, and then move forward based on the guidance that you get. If something doesn't resonate, then I would invite you to take I guess a back seat. Sorry, I'm hearing spirit starting to talk to me. Take a back seat and then re anyway, let's move on because you guys know the spiel. They're like, let's go. That's how it flows. Now, speaking of how it flows, on the deck, you may notice I already have two cards here. One is the masculine and one is the Eight of Wands. Now, the Eight of Wands is all about fast-moving energy. And when we talk about fast-moving energy, I'm like speeding up already. We're talking about the transmission of energy moving quickly. We're talking about the flow flowing quickly. We're talking about energetic codes flowing in. We're talking about communication moving quickly. If and then once you see that energetic dynamic, the question is where in your life, what areas of your life, or where in your physical environment, where in your mindset, where in your emotions, where within your energetic anatomy and your physical anatomy are you experiencing this rush? Now, as I said, this rush, notice I did that because boom, I just hit a wall, right? So we're going to talk about the wall, but I in a second. But what I do want to also make mention of is the masculine here. It's very dynamic energy. But even as I say dynamic energy, I feel a little bit of a wall there. And duh, see, that's why it's interesting. I talked about the dynamism and then hitting the wall as I did that and seeing that this wall is coming through this masculine expression. Now, when we think about masculinity, we think about it in terms of polarity, masculine and feminine. So a lot of people mistake the masculine and feminine gender when we're in reference to energy as having something to do with biological sex. It has nothing to do with that. In fact, the only reason that you're having a biological gender situation and all of that is because you just happen to be in this current lifetime incarnated into a physical body on a planet whose energies flow in a way to produce this unique body. And that body has expression in polarity that looks like a masculine and feminine body, and it has its own functions, blah, 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 blah. But we're not talking about that here. So we're talking about the polarity of masculinity, which we can usually identify as having flow, dynamism, right? Creativity and that very explosive, expressive, extending self. And so, in a sense, we've got two high frequency, high moving energies. Now, let's go to the block that I was picking up. Now, some of you may be experiencing some type of block or some type of obstruction in your way, some type of interference, if that's the word that some of you may use, some type of obstacle, if that's the word some of you may use. But what I want to tell you is that always remember when you're reading energy, don't just look at oh, there's a blockage here. It's more subtle and it's more nuanced. So the nuance that I'm picking up on here is yes, I do want to validate for you that you may have been experiencing some type of stop that may be an abrupt kind of stopping, but the meaning of that abrupt stop is not a negative one as you may be perceiving as your experience to be, because you experience something, then you put a narrative on it, and that narrative is going to be informed by your own sociocultural learning, and that's going to teach you, or that is what teaches you to view stop in your case as some type of problem. But in this case, that is not the reality. This is, think about something moving quickly because you're on the train with spirit. You're in the flow. And then think about it. Oh, the train is stopping, and you're on the train. You're like, why is the train stopping? What's going on? Well, that's simply stated because it needs to make a stop right now. Now, as I look over here randomly, you can't see, but I have all these cards just do built up, just hanging out. I see this card coming in, the masculine, who wants to express itself in the opposite. Notice I almost said negative, but I want to say opposite. And because if I say negative, it's going to trigger some of you guys again, because of your sociocultural programming and learning, you're going to see negative as bad. That's not the case. In this case, we're just going to say it's opposite, and it's opposite, of course. Some of us may want to say, oh, so you mean that now we're expressing in the feminine. But actually, what I'd like you to think about it is think about it in opposite of flow. So you're experiencing this stop motion, so to speak, stop motion. It's not even a slowing down. It's you could have been having a great time and then boom, something's like, oh, now I'm off my path, or now I feel icky, or what is this? I don't get this. Some of you may, I'm getting somebody here may actually be developing some type of itchiness in their body. Maybe you may or may not have an accompanying rash or whatnot, but I do want you to know that what is actually happening is this train has stopped for the purpose of receiving creative expression. So for the purpose of receiving sunlight from others, and when we're talking about sunlight from others, for the purpose of receiving illumination, for the purpose of receiving energetic information, for the purpose of having transfer of energies, not transfer of maladies. So again, whoever it is that you're engaging with, if this reading is for you, God bless your buttons. If you're perceiving this force that's incoming and seems to stop you along your way, or thrown you off your horse or high horse, even though that's too much language. That's coded language with your own experiences, right? Just stopping. You're stopping for insight. You're stopping for information. You're receiving. So just as a train must stop off to receive something, then so is this train that you're on with spirit. Okay, let me go ahead and receive some tea. One second. Okay. Yeah. Now, notice that we just pulled the Five of Pentacles, not Five of Pentacles. Oh, interesting that I said Five of Pentacles. Five of Pentacles. It's actually the Five of Cups, but I said Five of Pentacles because that's the vibe I'm getting. So Five of Cups is grief energy. So you may be experiencing a lot of grief with this perceived stop or perceived interference or interruption or obstacle or debacle is what I'm getting. For some of you, you may be experiencing it as an absurdity. Like, of all the things, how absurd that this would happen, like now at this time when I'm like, I planned and everything, right? Or I thought I was clear, or just blah, blah, blah. So you may be having some grief associated with that. The Five of Pentacles, though, energy comes with lack consciousness. It comes from poverty consciousness. It speaks of inadequacy, insufficiency. But we all know that and especially when viewed from a higher perspective, any form of poverty, whether it be an experience of lack or experience of poverty consciousness is actually a symptom, or is actually a reflection of a mindset of inadequacy, a mindset that lacks vision, a mindset that is too narrow to see the larger picture. The larger picture, when you go and you're like, when your perspective reaches the boundaries of all of creation, then you are back at a state of oneness. And then obviously there's no words and stuff, because how could you talk about what's short if you don't even have a concept of what's tall? You're just all that is. And that's why it reduces to the I am. That's it. That's the only thought that can be had, only a statement that can be made if you want to say that I am. And then when you start to dissolve or not dissolve, well, I guess, yeah, dissolve some of your awareness, right? What you start to do is you drop down in frequency. You start to take on multiple perspectives. And the minute you just get out of that state of I am, now you're in that hypothetical state of the I am not. That's the dream. That's the sleep. And then it's just like a big cell, just it further divides and divides, right? All the planets and all the solar systems and all the everything is made in that whole division. But it's ultimately an unreal state of perception, because the only thing that is I am. And that's all there is. But when you get into hypothetical, that's when you get into what could I become? What if? And that's when all those little thoughts bring in all these little divisions and such. And here you are, cute little fragment, a cute little spark of the divine. That's all that this is. This great big dream is just a great big hypothetical state. And in the hypothetical state, the I am moves from that to the, or perceives to move from the I am state of oneness to the I am not. That's the hypothetical state. And because you have lived so many lifetimes and so many evolutionary points along this long scale universal time matrix, blah, 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 of the I am not, this hypothetical state, you've picked up a couple beliefs about yourself. If you're in the hypothetical state of what if I were a loser, the reality is always going to be the case that you're not, you can never be a loser. There's no such thing in all that is, which is your true reality. So while you're down here, you're entertaining those ideas, but you don't have to. The point is to move back up in frequency, back into integration, back into cohesiveness. And that movement back into cohesiveness, back into integration, back into healed mindset is going to eventually move from the looking outside of you and seeing everything is outside of you back into the, oh, the I am, everything is me, I am. And that is a journey of pure agency. And that's why when we're down here, things that we perceive of as not being choices. I mean, your friendly local therapist will kind of rip that apart in your first session, like, actually, let's take a look at the narrative. And all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, I'm the problem. Yeah, it's not, your cousin who said that. And it's you, boo, let's talk it out. Now imagine what our spirit teams see at their high frequency and high expansive perspective of all that is. Imagine what they're seeing. So when they come to speak to you of potentials and things that you can accomplish and what you are and stuff, they speak to you in terms of what you are, but they because they know that, but they join you in your current flawed beliefs, your grief state, your victim consciousness, your martyrdom consciousness, your poverty consciousness, your inadequacy statements, your all of this, your blaming, your forgetfulness, your pain, your bad circumstances, your all the social ills, all of that. They join you in your belief there so that they can counsel you and lead you out of that. But they can't come in and beat you down and say, you are a loser. You're this, you can't fight fire with fire. They can only do their best from that higher state of awareness and understanding why and who you are and why you've come into this state of belief, because they have all your Akashic records, all that stuff. And they will tend to you there. And so this is what each person individually needs on this planet. But so many people are still stuck in the idea that everyone is suffering the same thing. Everybody, you can have four people, but one of those people have a soul contract to experience poverty in this lifetime, and the other four are just experiencing the effects of their impoverished beliefs, for example. You just don't know. And so that's why, if you notice, one of the biggest things that the guides have been talking about through this channel is it's funny. I was gonna say something else, and I heard mind your business. Mind your business. Why are they saying that? Yeah, mind your business. Let me just translate that a little. So what they're saying is stop judging others. Get your mind out of what other people are seeing and doing and blah, blah, blah. And this is why, when you really understand the way the energy flows, when you see a person's energetic anatomy and you see how their beliefs are causing all these ailments, all of these experiences, and when you start to understand the laws of the universe, you will start to see greater agency, personal accountability, right? Sovereignty. You will start to see, oh, shoot, it's me. I've been making choices that have bottled me out into physically into these circumstances. And I think that all these people going through the same thing, just experiencing the same physical effects and physical problems in society, we're all victims, and but your lovely energy readers, hi, come see us. the seers of the world, the visionaries. We see it's in there, right? Look at the sounds letting us know, right? Come see me so I can let you know. No, let's look at you. Let's look at your body. Doctors don't just say, hey, let's take this whole bunch of people and let's just give them all this medication. Some of them do because blah blah blah. They can't do that without looking at your specific medical history, your body, your right when you're working with energy healers and your integrative specialists and all of that, they see everything else. They see more. And so then at the end of the day, it may not be believable for a lot of people at this time, but trust me when I say the healing that needs to occur is only in the mindset. That is the only place in the mindset, in the consciousness, that you can experience true healing. And from that mindset, that level of your energetic being will be the resonance of healed perception that moves outward into the world, into your physical body, into the things you see, into the stories you tell. So you must bring yourself into yourself. Now they're saying, as they say that, now we see the masculine turning around. And I forgot to mention this, but as this energy was coming through, what I wanted to say is this is a course correction. So if this video has found you, thanks for watching. God bless you, right? You're being course corrected in the only place that matters, your mind. And see, we see this ball now being able to go right through the hole that is being held, of this ankh that the masculine is holding. So now we see the masculine on both sides in alignment. So let's summarize very quickly, and let's just add that here to the link here. This is one of the pieces of information that you guys will be receiving at this time. Remember, this Eight of Wands is fast moving communication. And if you're experiencing some conflict, as I said conflict, I heard resolution because look, we just fixed it. It's a course correction, right? So me just bringing this to your conscious mind awareness, that's the shift that you need. Now you are aware of it. So your next step is, well, what do I do with that? Because I'm still seeing these patterns. You take action steps in alignment with these corrective ideas. I am, okay? I am what? Responsible in many ways. I may not emotionally be in a space that I can hear that. It's the same way as if somebody just fell off their bike and their collarbones like sticking out. And you're like, well, let's talk about art therapy because it's going to connect. They're like, triage, right? They're in the mix of it. But that is just a reflection of where they are in the process of what's going on. It is not a reflection of the reality of what it is. Okay. So when we are in our most victim feeling moments because the dagger is still in the hip, no one wants to hear the role that they've played, whether it is in their everyday choices or whether it goes all the way up to their soul's choices before they came into this planet and everywhere in between. But trust me when I say everything is you, all is mind. And so that's why if you're experiencing certain things, there's always going to be a lesson in there for you. And the lesson is not punishment. The lesson is perspective inducing because the only thing that is sick or ill from spirit's perspective, not our perspective, from spirit's perspective, the thing that truly ails you is going to be a distortion of perception in your mind. The minute that we separate it into this, I've heard them say unhealthy state of mind. Yeah, unhealthy state, period. If it's anything in the mind is going to be in the physical. So, right. But when you're in this oneness state, this unified state, all that is, and Source had that thought like, what if? Boink, hypothetical. That's the false separation state. It's not real. You just have a perception of being separate. Why? Because if Source, if God, or whatever you want to call it, all of creation which everything is mind, so it's just one huge brain or one huge mind consciousness, if you want to say. If source had this thought, I mean, if source is just is, and then from somewhere a thought emerges, what if? That's the hypothetical state, but it doesn't mean that source or that all that is has changed anything. In fact, I'm doing this to show the separation, but actually it's not a this, it's an inside because you're still within all that is. Just like a cell, when a cell starts to go through its cell division and all that, what does it start doing? It starts moving inside, right? And that's where we'll leave the cell idea because because there's always going to be that oh, I guess you can think the body. Okay, the body when the body has, yeah, okay, the body is there, it's always going to be there, but then the cells are in there too, and inside of the body there's many dividing cells, but the body is still there, right? So when you start to, this is going back to the lesson here, the course correction is remember who you are. I am, period. I am, and that's it. And I am, think about the structure, the fabric of creation. Let's think about the whatever you want to call it, the waves, the skin, the fabric of creation is going to be a frequency. And that frequency is what we call love. Now, when we think about love from the bottom up, we're thinking, oh, love, like, oh, I heart you, I this and and romantic love and platonic love and agape and like I'm talking about the fabric of all that is. We like a great analogy in the physical would be like think about the atoms and the molecules and the photons and the subatomic particles and like that fabric, right? That's love frequency. Now, all that is all that is. It's just all that is. And that includes what you know, what you don't know. Like I don't know how to change that car. My bad. Okay. There's what you um, don't know that you know, right? Oh, I just baked my first cake. I had no idea I knew how to do that. Like, and then there's that lovely little category, which is what you don't know that you don't know. In other words, it's the inconceivable. Based on your current mindset and your beliefs and of what could be and what isn't, there's always going to be a part where you just don't know that you don't know it. You can't conceive of it. Think about someone living in a two-dimensional world where there are just these 2 points. They have no concept of height. Yeah, they don't understand what height is. So that means they can't climb a ladder. They don't look up. They don't even know to look up. What is up? Concept. There's no conception of it. There's no ability to conceive of it in that state. All right. And so when you're in all that is, and when all that is, that went into this separated state, this perceived separated state, in order to observe itself, and then it's separated more in order to have a physical experience of this self. There's so many dimensions. These different dimensions add different things, that different forms of information or different channels for information that that can inform creation about itself. Right? And so if we have all of that, and one of the spiritual laws is that polarity, everything exists in polarity. That means there's going to be high vibration and low vibration, but it's all one. But within all that is, there's going to be high vibration and low vibration and everything in between. There's going to be white and there's going to be black and everything in between. Everything serves a function. Everything has a function. If it didn't have a function, if it didn't have a purpose, if it didn't have a meaning given by source, it would not be. And so if you take even one little spark out of all that is, which is impossible, because where would it go? If all that is, and you take one, where would it go? Right? So there's no ability to separate. We just have a false perception of it. Right? But if you took one thing and that spark is you, super cutely, boop, out, there's incompletion. That's impossible. And so you have to realize that without you, with your specific location and all that is in the universal time matrix of time and space things, which is not true either, but for the sake of this physical experience, it is. But if it took you out, That would be a part of Source's consciousness that it can no longer experience. It won't have any idea of it. It'll be incomplete. It's impossible to have separation. You cannot have the whole ocean without that one little droplet, right? Because then you don't have the whole ocean. And the reality, this is the course correction, the mindset correction for those of you in service to others. The reality is that there is only the whole. The reason why this information is coming through for you is that you must understand, if you are connecting to this channel at least, because I guess that's who Spirit assigned me to work with. But anyway, if you're connecting here, thank you guys, you must understand that you, to be of your highest potential here, to be operating at the highest levels of frequencies, you must be aware of who you are. You can't be down here in duck soup, helping ducks in duck soup. And ducks are not bad or anything like that. It's just saying, hey, we need you to help certain people by soul contract. You have contracts with these beings, these souls on this earth. When they wanted to come in, they're like, hey, man, I'm going in. I'm going in. I'm just like you. I'm going in. I'm taking the veil of forgetfulness. I'm taking the pill. Whatever the blue, red pill. I'm going into the matrix, whatever you want to call it. So I'm going to hide my memory of who I am, of what I am as a son of God. SON has nothing to do with gender. Okay. The son of God representing that production, that that initial separation. It's just all of creation. All of creation is the Son of God as it's used here, right? No religious, no, religion wasn't even a thing when all of this was going on. This is like your earthly thing, and over last couple, how long people have been peopling on this planet and able to even have thoughts, right? So just please, that has nothing in this conversation, but um there's some souls who came in, and in their soul contract, they said, I want to be of service to help those who I've contracted be pre-birth, to assist them on their learning. So a lot of people are here to just have their own soul lessons in certain things, maybe to bring in innovations, to have creativity, to do karmic. Some people are leading heavily karmic lives because that is their soul's choice with themselves, and they hired, for lack of a better word, all of us around them to help them learn their lessons. They don't remember that down here. Some of them do, and so they approach it differently. When things happen, they use the opportunity to reflect and to learn the lessons so they can move through quickly. And they don't make it mean that they're a victim and they this and they that. Yes, they'll go through those moments because part of that is part of the cathartic catharsis that's needed, and also part of the learning, because sometimes they have to learn to have those experiences because that's what they did to other people when they were not aware empathetically about the effects, right? But anyway, so if you are part of what, I don't know what to call you guys, just people who have soul agreement to be of service to others, and that could be in anything. Just, you may not even be aware that you have these soul agreements, but maybe you just always make sure to smile when you're checking people out at the register, not knowing that you're saving lives, right? Not all heroes wear capes. And then there's some of you who are very aware that you're like, I'm this star seed from this star system, and I did it, and I know my blueprints, and I did it. Some people just know, and some people don't. And sometimes people don't know because they're not supposed to. The same way that a lot of people, you see some of the really big heart-based philanthropists, maybe they started off like maybe as a sports player, or some artist or some musician or something, and then and they got extremely famous, Christopher Reeves, right? Extremely famous. And then what? Boom, something happens. And then their entire life becomes this mission. They didn't come here to be a celebrity. They came here to capture the hearts and minds of people. And they use the vehicle of celebrity status, for example, sportsman status, or some people come here to be victims. I know a lot of people are like, whatever, Jay, but some people in their soul contract, they came here to teach the world, and they came here to be a victim. And, I don't want to call any names, but this is a public person, Kitty Genovese, right? A lot of people, all these people that came for what? To capture the consciousness of people, to shock them into saying, hey, and that's their gift to the world. It also serves whatever they're doing in their soul's contract, right? It may also have some karmic thing. Maybe they're knocking all sorts of stuff out with their soul's contract, right? Who knows? Maybe they're a leading expert on the other side. That's the research they're doing. People don't just play harps on the other side. We're doing home is where all the activity is. Here is the testing ground. Here is the experience ground. But home in the other dimensions is where we do all the things that get infused and come that make their way onto the planet. But once these infusions of knowledge and technology and innovation and spirituality and artistry and all that music, did I call that already? Fashion, everything, and their highest expressions come and they're gifted into the consciousness, the collective consciousness of the earth, depending on the mindset of the person who receives it. Oh Lord. Next thing we have, we're using nuclear weapons on a whole civilization. Misuse of technology. Next thing, we're enslaving minds into worship cycles and guilt and sacrifice and punishment and guilt. The guys are like throwing all these words out, and guilt and shame and misuse. Misuse channeled into the vehicle of religion. Misuse channeled into the vehicle of technology. Misuse channeled into the vehicles of education. Misuse channeled into the vehicles of medicine and pharmacology. Pharmacology, oh God, big one, pharmaceuticals. Misuse channeled into agribusiness. All of these things, because you have to understand that anytime there's a go between spirit and you, first of all, you don't need it. You don't need me. If I'm literally receiving direct from my spirit and I'm sharing here, but you don't need me to do what I'm doing here, which is connecting to my higher self. And I'm just like, oh, let me share it because I love teaching. I love sharing, right? You can receive things for yourself and for other people. But if you get caught up in certain sociocultural learnings and your mind gets twisted in ways that place you out of your sovereignty, take away your empowered being, and fits you into mindsets that are not real, um, that are destructive to self, that are destructive to others, as you can tell in the way it manifests in the physical world. Now you have whole countries fighting with each other. You have whole religions fighting with each other. You have whole uh, nations and cultures fighting with each other. You have sects, sects. You have all sorts of stuff. You have wars that won't stop being fought because people think they're special over the others, and there's an over attachment to a land and to this is matter is nothing. It's your mind projecting, right? And so we have to be very careful in these times with who and what we follow, who and what we buy into, who and what we believe, because when we co-sign and we plug in, you're the sovereign one. Everyone has their own plug. You plug into whatever you want. When you choose to plug into things, or you realize that, oh, I've been plugged into something because I was born into this culture, you have to unplug and think for yourself. Come into the center. This is the course correction again. Come into the center. Remember who you are. Remember what you are. Remember that you're a sovereign being and you are just on the same level as all other people. You may come down here with a different function, right? To be of assistance, to bring new tech and innovation, this and that. But everybody, each individual should be catering to their mindset and their consciousness so that they can release their over attachment to other people that they've been trained in society to see as experts. And, oh, I'm going to call you doctor, but you have no ethics and you're chopping people up and you're pumping them full of meds. And so the real doctors who are taking their Hippocratic oaths and their hearts and minds seriously and really just wanting to aid people at this physical level of their experience, they get drowned out by others who are, they've lost their way. That's it. They've just lost their way. That's just one example for looking medical stuff. Look at how we treat people who help us build society, whether it's helping us with our agriculture, helping us to with our arts, with we value money over, and again, money is your own energy. It's you who calls and blocks um, the flow of energy, the flow of energy in general, whether it manifests as money, whether it manifests as people, whether it manifests as an instrument, a musical instrument, whether it manifests as an opportunity. It's just you. So if you want to, continue to keep messing around in false beliefs and stuff, spirits say do you. I just added that. They didn't say that. They're like, no, actually, we came in here to say stop doing that. Right? But when you get yourself into alignment with yourself, that's your first step to correcting the mindset, right? So you guys know that I watch, what am I watching? No, you guys know that I do these readings and it was 11:44. Hey, shout out. You guys know that I do these um, collective readings or whatnot on Instagram and stuff, but that's not what I actually do. It's just, it's just a place for me to give collective readings. What I actually do in my personal work with clients is we course correct, we correct the perceptions, and during the course of that correction in the consciousness, we introduce changes into the energetic anatomy, and that's where the healing work takes place. And we have members on team who may do the etheric surgery that needs to be done, because you do, just like in your physical body, you have ding 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 energetic counterparts, and at different levels of the field, and at certain levels of the field you'll see your cute little liver also there. We will make changes there, for example. So, and then the people we work with, or at least people I've noticed that come to me, are people who have service contracts. You may be like, but I'm not doing anything. I work in this office and I don't know, this is whatever, but I just like watching these videos and stuff. Yeah, but you're a vibrational match. And you, in this level of consciousness, the third dimensional consciousness, the mindset here in the physical space, you don't actually know all the stuff you're doing. You think you're going to the post office, and that time your higher self, your interdimensional self is doing some type of healing technique. Some of you are great healers, and maybe in this lifetime you've chosen to do a different function. There are certain, and some of you are actually very active and very aware of your activity in your soul's service this lifetime, right? You may even have a business, whether it's doing like acupuncture or healing or biomagnetism, or whether you're a therapist, a licensed marriage counselor, or whether you're a medical doctor, whatever, or an artist or some other creative, a jewelry maker. You may be doing all sorts of stuff in this lifetime, but you have no idea the full breadth. I love that word, the full breadth of your toolkit that you've been using multiple lifetimes. Right? So just trust me, trust me when I say that if you're watching this video, then you're a vibrational match to it, right? And especially with today's content, I mean, with that's coming in. Well, the guides are saying two things. I want to say with the content that I'm bringing through today, which is the course correction. And the guides want to also add, especially today's content in online media and everywhere, you're constantly being bombarded. You must maintain your mindset. You have to constantly, continuously be making sure that your mindset is properly oriented. Otherwise, you will lose your perception. You will lose your higher perception, and you will just get swept up. And that's when you see, and it happens to a lot of us. It can happen. We can fall off the mindset that we need in a lifetime and completely not accomplish what it is we came here to do, because maybe the trauma was too great and we weren't able to work through it. Maybe we ended up making a choice that took us down a path, and now we're like, whether for somebody they weren't supposed to marry this person, but they got caught up in their learnings here, the false learnings here, and they end up marrying that person. Now they're off somewhere else. They aren't able to even really get on the path that they wanted to do, for example, right? Or all sorts of stuff. So you want to really make sure that you're fine-tuned, is what they're saying. And fine-tuning is also about making sure that you have your integrative healers in your speed dial. Now, which integrative healing you might need, whether it's intuitive counseling, which is what we do, we actually do pretty much everything except hands-on because I don't see you. But if you, we see each other physically, and if God says, let's do it, then we might do it because we have our specialists who work through us, right? But some of you may want to do light therapy or may need to do light therapy. Some of you may need something as simple as, well, we want you to use some Bach flower remedies, super cute and so gentle, on your energy, on your emotional body. So we want you to do this. Some of you may be tasked with journaling. Some of you may be asked to donate money or give of your time or whatever. So if you follow the weekly post this week, thank you. It's in the written format on Instagram. If you're not on my Instagram, come find me. What's my it's Awakening All You Light Workers. Plus, you can find the link in my description box if you're on YouTube. It's right there. But if you haven't seen the weekly message this week, the guides are coming through with course corrections, and they're coming through with unique. It always is going to be unique. Not talking about the whole collective because it's for you, right? Unique actions to take in order to bring yourself back into alignment. And they're saying happiness is a choice. We all know that, but they want to hit us with it. So is your grief. It may not feel like a choice because it's so much, but it is a choice when viewed from spirit's perspective. And sometimes when I say spirit's perspective, we're thinking like, oh, all the way up in dimensions. Sometimes you don't even need to go that high up. You can go again into your local therapist's office, who your friendly local therapist, and they will point out to you certain tendencies that you have, beliefs that you're doing, behaviors that you're doing, all sorts of stuff, right? And I'm hearing a question come up, well, what about those of us who actually have clinically mapped things like, oh, depression or some other type of wiring issues or whatever is going on with the body? Well, of course, once it's there in your physical body, now, of course, you're going to have to bring in physical doctors because that's the level of your energetic field that they work. Remember, you are a multidimensional being. So you've got your physical body, then you've got your etheric body, then I think you have your emotional body? Or is it your mental body? Probably mental. Then you've got your emotional body, and then you start going up into your what are the other ones? Like your I'm forgetting the other ones, like your etheric is a really high one, right? All these bodies. And that's why we have so many different modalities, healing modalities, because obviously physical surgery is going to work on the physical level. And you have physical surgery, it's not going to heal anything because there's no illness in the body. The body is a carbon copy, it's a reflection of an ailment in the mindset. Ailment, when viewed from a real space, with everything is mind. So you understand that an illness is misperception. So when we're working at the physical level of the body, we're just dealing with symptoms. And in fact, some of us are working multiple lifetimes to get to the root, which is awareness of what the mind is believing to be true. And that's fine. Sometimes it takes multiple lifetimes to work through stuff. But our physical doctors are needed because they can help alleviate our pain. They can help keep the body functioning in many ways. But to truly heal the issue, you have to take other means. Now, if you have and there is some overlap in the sense that one can affect the other for sure. Like some people are actually have, well, it's a mindset problem first, but we may experience that mindset problem. Let's say inadequacy wound. That's a mindset thing. That's a misperception. You forgot who you are. When you remember who you are, I am all that is, and what goes with it, the sovereign state, the agency, the divine providence. When you forget all of that stuff, you're now in your I am not. You're in your five of pentacles, low self-worth vibe. That's your belief of unworthiness. And that unworthiness will trickle down through your energetic bodies until that very energy frequency of unworthiness is visible even in your physical, in your body, right? Now, someone at the physical level looking at it will diagnose you with something else. Oh, yeah, this is that because we see the functioning. But your energy readers and your intuitive counselors, when we look in it, we see the problem and we see the connection. Oh, we see here and we see how it affects you at the in your third eye, because these are the thoughts that I see here. We see the energetic anatomy being affected. We see the growths and such that later become, for example, cancers and heart issues and all of that stuff, or even elbow issues and tendonitis, all that. We see all of that because those are just manifestations of your belief. We also can come into your house, for example, or have a Zoom call, and we look right on your wall and we see certain paintings. So all your information about you is readable. Same way someone can read what do people read? They can read bones, they can read salt, we can look right in your environment and pick up all this information about you. So the point is that I'm trying to make, it's time to get awakened. It's time to awaken and understand that you are not your body. You are not your physical environment. You are not that news story you see outside. Everything that you see outside, God bless you, is a reflection of what's going on inside of you. Now, you can manage symptoms and you can buy into the forms, people, places, things, situations, ideas that show up in your life, and you can work your whole entire life within that sphere. You can be an activist within that sphere. You can do art in that sphere and all of that stuff, and still never heal the issue. And then in the next life, you will come back and you will work at it again. Or you can understand the law of correspondence. What you see outside of you is just a reflection of what is inside of you. Everything, everything is you pushed out, right? And so if you see something out there, you sit, you reflect, you bring it back to self, and you ask, well, what am I looking at? What is this reflecting about the mindset, the belief, the core belief that I have about myself? And when you start to get on that path with your spirit team, the guys are like, oh, twins, don't even get us on that card. Yeah, let's not go there. How much time do we have? Come on now. The twin flame thing. But anyway, we get it, but okay. But like when you get on this path with your higher self and your spirit team, literally professionals of all in all the industries that we have in physical, we have that in the non-physical, literally helping you. Then from that state of awareness, that higher state of awareness, you will be directed to not just any physical doctor, but to the physical doctor that is most poised to speak to you and your needs, not just all the broken ankle that you have. Let's go to any doctor. No, the doctor that has the ability to work with the broken ankle, the doctor that energetically has the mental and emotional and etheric fields and all that stuff that matches up, aligns best with you to bring you not more pain, but to bring you healing on different levels. So your spirit team directs you to the highest potential for healing people in your life, whether that is through a partner, through the gas station attendant, it's the person at the post office, whether it's the educational program that you're trying to go into. This is creating a vibrational network that feeds you. And as you do, you really get that enrichment that you need for your soul. You're still engaging with all these people. Oh, I'm still working with my local rabbi. I'm still here with my priest or my imam or my ifa, or I'm still working at this 9 to 5 office job, or I'm still here with the medical doctor. I'm still here working in the fields and tending my tomatoes. I am still doing that, but you're moving along a meaningful vibrational path that is not only you engaging with your traumas outside, it's you engaging with your healing outside. And from that space of vibrational accord with self, you become such a high vibrational instrument to tend to others. That's when spirit has you, because you are in alignment And that's when you can reach out to your community and be the activist that you would like to be. For example, I'm just using that. Be the chef that you'd like to be the artist, be the ballet dancer, whatever. But spirit puts you in alignment with people, places, things, situations, ideas, with forms that you can actually make meaningful help with. If you don't pull into yourself to allow for that, that creative switch, spirit's like, we got it. With that alignment, then you will forever be playing around with the people, places, things, situations, ideas, the forms, the jobs, the this, the that, the opportunities, the lotto wins, the this and that are of a low vibration and that will just reflect back to your own bitterness, your own self-doubt, your own low self-worth, your own poor values, martyrdom, your poverty. So you can spend lifetimes in that realm. This is called the hamster wheel. But if you came here to be of service, you need to get your mind right. Come get your mind right. And you can do that with me because that's literally what we do. Or you can be directed by your higher self, your spirit team, to somebody else, right? Or your spirit team may say, take up oil painting. You're like, what? Do it, right? But the point is to get you back in work so that we can reestablish the flow of what? Of your own wisdom. If you're not in alignment with yourself, wisdom can't flow to you. You're taking wisdom from the world around you, the sociocultural learnings. It's a waste of time. Go back, plug into the only place that really gives you mother's milk. Sorry, I don't know why I said that. Who that for? Right? Sorry, maybe some guy in the back's like me, I don't know. The guy didn't say that, but okay. Or some of you may have babies, right? And so spirit is calling you, for example, to get into alignment too, so that you can be that highest expression of self that the people that are connected to you, whether they're children or your family members, need. Because we have soul contracts hoping that we can serve each other in these ways. Anyway, I don't know how long I've been on here, but I want to make sure it's under an hour so I can get in, get into Instagram. So look, Empress, boom, vibrational match. They're saying remember I was like, oh, it's the opposite. So some of us will be like, oh, is it the Empress? Is it the feminine? No, you can't, you can't be, you can't be healthy in your healthy masculinity or healthy femininity and attract toxic. If you're getting toxic, reflection of the toxicity within you, plain and simple. And it's a growth partner, right? If you are toxic in multiple areas of your life, really mindset, and this is leaking into other areas of your life, and you're trying to, get your healthy counterpart, it's not possible because blue is going to attract blue, red is going to attract red, period. And people don't understand that. They think, oh, I'm ready for a partner, for example, just using this. And so I'm going to do everything that I'm supposed to do to get a partner based on what I've learned and do my spiritual practices and and be on this dating side or blah, 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 and clean, and then they get, less than desirable because that's not how it works. Just because you're saying that you want to do this and you're taking action steps, if you don't have the mindset, you're not vibrating what you need in order to do what? Attract your highest vibration. You will always only attract what is a vibrational match to you. So if you are still in the blame game, I want to gently, with super hugs, let you know you got to look at yourself, period. Okay? So I'm going to leave it here. It's up to you if you want to hold on to the message that we're giving you here today and maximize upon it. And look, as I gave that idea and what's underneath the Chariot card, full speed ahead, right? Remember, whatever you put your beliefs onto, as you believe, you will see, you will think about, you will feel about, you will have gut reactions about, you will experience in your physical. So if you don't like what you're experiencing in your physical, if you don't like the thoughts you're thinking, if you don't like the emotions you're feeling, if you don't like the gut reactions you're having, you know, all that stuff, it's the man in the mirror situation. Okay, what's this? Ooh, mic drop. Just kidding. No, it's literally the Four of Swords. Take a rest. So I gotta go. Bye. God bless you guys. If you'd like to work more personally with me, you know exactly where to find me. You can hit me up on Etsy. If you have questions about the services I have, you can hit me up on Instagram at my DMs at Awakening All You Light Workers. You guys are the bestest and bestest and bestest. I wouldn't say it if I didn't mean it. And what else? Yeah, come come hit me up. And until then, God bless you. And let's say thank you to our spirit team. Thanks, spirit team. They're totally here. They're so great. And your spirit teams are here too because they watch you and help direct you. God bless. All right. So go on and do your best and remember that you're pretty awesome. All right. Bye.